What's good, everyone? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Judge's Corner with myself, Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge, and I'm honored to be joined by Coach Dante. Tonight, it is Friday, February 3rd, and I want to thank all our listeners out there. As you guys can listen to us on various platforms, we are on Spotify, we are also on Amazon Music. You guys can listen to us on YouTube as well, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and follow us on YouTube for new content daily. It's a lot of fun. Coach Dante, I'm privileged to be joined by you again. What's going on, my man? How you feeling tonight? We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get into.
Oh man, I'm feeling great, man. Like I say, it's an honor to be up here with you, man. Like I say, you one of my favorite guys, man. I admire you, man. Like you say about your Dodgers and your Lakers and stuff, but about other things though, about other sports you're talking about. So I'm very happy to be up here with the sports judge, man, and be a co-host of the Friday night show or the Wednesday night show. It went down Wednesday night, but I'm very happy to let's get right into it, man. I'm ready to go.
It's always a pleasure, right? It's
Yeah.
always a pleasure. And it was breaking news in the NBA world today that Kyrie Irving has asked for a trade from the Brooklyn Nets before the trade deadline. Now, this story blew up once Roge reported it from ESPN, and everyone took to social media to give their thoughts, to chime in. This was a big story. At first, I thought it was a joke, and I had to look at multiple sources to see if it was actually true or not. Because I at first I didn't believe it, and when I saw that ESPN reported it, and when I saw other people starting to post links to articles, I was like, "Damn, he wants out." And this is not the first time. This is the second time. Coach, I don't know if we can trust Kyrie Irving. I don't know if he can be trusted. Look, I'm not going to diminish the man's ability to play basketball. I don't think anyone has ever doubted his competitiveness. I don't think anyone has ever questioned his ability to play basketball. I think we all know that he's one of the most skillful guards in the league, that he's one of the best players in the league. It's just that he comes with a lot of baggage. And his antics can be a bit too much for a team to deal with. I want to let you get into this. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving demanding a trade from the Brooklyn Nets? Is it because of a contract dispute? Is it because he probably wants to reunite with LeBron in LA? What do you think?
It's hard to tell with Kyrie Irving. Like I say, it's hard to tell with him. I think, like I say again, I thought the Brooklyn Nets were doing a hell of a job, man. Jacques Vaughn got the head coaching position. Right now, the Brooklyn Nets are 31-20, and most of that because of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant when they were playing together. Kevin Durant goes down. Now they're struggling to win ball games, and this could be because of a contract dispute. And this could be because he wanted to play with LeBron James. It could be both sides, either way, because he did admit how he was acting with LeBron James. He didn't appreciate LeBron James enough when he was in Cleveland, and he wanted his own team. And he even threatened that he would have surgery if he didn't get traded. He messed up the culture over there in Boston, and now look what Boston is doing. So it just seemed like every time Kyrie goes somewhere, the team immediately gets better and better, and Kyrie continues to be a locker room counselor. But at the end of the day, this guy cannot be trusted. He can check out in any moment. And again, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm not giving him no $198 million. I don't know if he's gonna stay committed to this team. And you saw Kevin Durant came out and said, he was very surprised about Kyrie asking for a trade because I thought it was the Brooklyn Nets were getting it together. I thought if they would have played a full season and made the playoffs, I thought they can give a team a first round scare if they could play together. And if these two was on the court, but Kyrie Irving coming out asking for a trade, I'm pretty much sure it shocked everybody. But I think he wants to get over there with LeBron James, or I can't tell what's going on with Kyrie. Well, it could be from a contract dispute, but at the end of the day, if I'm Brooklyn, I agree. I'm not giving him no contract if I'm knowing you're not going to be committed to me. And he is not committed to Brooklyn. He is not committed. You're seeing he walked away, basically from the contract, and him and his agent walked away. So now it's been interesting to see what the Brooklyn Nets do. What two teams are going to be involved, which is you're hearing Dallas and the Lakers. The Lakers is really the team that he wants to end up with. I think Dallas will be really intriguing to help Luka Doncic out. When Luka go take some rest off the bench, you can still have another ball handler that could take over that second unit and help out that second unit. But Kyrie Irving cannot be trusted, and he could be a locker room cancer. And you don't know when he's going to check out. You remember in Brooklyn again, he left the team. He left the team and did not let the team know where he was going. The team was really concerned about him. Steve Nash really was concerned about him. He didn't even ask the team where he was going. He didn't even communicate with the team. And he's been out. So those are the kind of things you got to watch out for Kyrie Irving. No one, like you said, is a question in his game. He's a superstar talent when he's on the court, but this guy cannot be trusted. And the moment things don't go his way, he's going to check out and he's going to want out.
Look, man, I'm going to tell you like this. He's been a problem child everywhere he's been. He's been a problem child everywhere he's been. He was a bust in Cleveland when he played alongside LeBron James. He was very immature. Made it real clear that he didn't want to play with LeBron. And just imagine what they could have done had they stayed together. But this is a guy who you mentioned earlier wanted to have his own team. So he goes to Boston and he blows it up there. He goes to Boston and he wants out of Boston as well. This is a guy who's never content, who's never satisfied. This is a guy who, like you said, can check out at any moment because he is not fully committed to his team. And I have not seen him show his true commitment to this Brooklyn Nets team. And I think that's why the Brooklyn Nets do not want to fully commit to him. They do not want to lock him up to a long-term deal because they don't know if Kyrie is going to show up or not. They don't know if he's going to play on a consistent basis. They don't know if he's going to one day decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play. I'm not going to suit up today. Why should I suit up and play? And I feel like every time, and I talked about this in my video earlier. I did a video on this, and I said that every time a social injustice issue occur in this country, Kyrie Irving wants to take a break from basketball. You still have an occupation. You still have a job to do, and that is to play basketball. I mean, I know it's a distraction. I understand that there's a lot going on in this world. We're dealing with social injustice issues. We're dealing with police brutality. And I understand that he wants to take a political stand and he wants to be an activist and he wants to be involved in the community. And he can still do all those things. But he's a basketball player. And I understand he has a large platform and he wants his voice to be amplified. He wants people to hear him and what he has to say. And that's all good and everything. But you signed a contract to play basketball. And I feel like he also doesn't take accountability. He doesn't take accountability for his own actions. And we saw that last year when he missed a chunk of games.
Yep.
That's why the Brooklyn Nets don't want to commit to him. Let's be real. The Brooklyn Nets don't want to commit to him because he was absent in a lot of those games, He didn't play in a lot of those games, and the Nets struggled to put it together during a daunting stretch in his absence. He
Yep.
refused to play as he remained unvaccinated, and it's always something with Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
It's never a dull moment with Kyrie Irving, and he was painted as the scapegoat for the Nets' disappointing season a year ago.
Yep.
But like I told you earlier, no one ever questioned his scoring ability or ball handling skills, because
Yep.
when he's at the top of his game and when he's laser focused, he is clearly, and you can make this argument that he is the best guard in the league.
Yep.
You
And
know, and
again,
that's the thing.
what you said was true, but I want to take you back to Boston when he got even more crazier. He wasn't a leader for the young guys. Now he came out and said he wanted his own team. He got his own team. But so you went from crying about LeBron James, you didn't want to play with him, that he got all the spotlight, that LeBron James got all the spotlight, he got all the fame in the NBA finals. Of course, when you have the biggest block of the NBA finals, to keep the game, that allowed you to make that 3-point shot. And people coming out, that's all people come out to say. But he was so a cancer in that Boston Celtics locker room. Kyrie is a type of player. He's all about himself. He's a selfish type of guy. Kyrie Irving in the Boston Celtics series, when he was playing like shit, he played like straight shit that second year in Boston when they lost to Milwaukee. He came out literally in a press conference and said, "I should have took 27 more shots." He's already struggling. And he come out in the press conference and said, I should have took 27 more shots. No, he should have gave the ball up to someone. And that was messing with Jason Tatum. That was messing with Jaylen Brown. You remember mid-season when they were struggling, he called the team out and stuff like that, and he was still playing garbage. That's the type of stuff that we're talking about with Kyrie Irving. He holds himself to no accountability. He's actually a selfish teammate, and when things not going his way, he quits. He's not going to hesitate to quit. He's not going to hesitate to leave on you. And it was time that he was running practices at Brooklyn without Steve Nash. It was time he was doing that. So, but Steve Nash did allow it. He did allow it. So at the end of the day, but Kyrie is a selfish teammate, and he's all about Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving is going to do what he want to do. And again, we don't question his game. He's a superstar in the league when he does play. But again, why would I want to pay you if you're not going to play basketball consistently, if you're not on the court consistently, if you're not going to tell nobody where you're at consistently, and letting your own teammates and coaches know that you're going to be absent, you're going to have a mental issue. Kyrie Irving is a selfish player. He's all about me. When things not going right, he's gonna pout, he's gonna moan, he's gonna find a way to check out. That's what Kyrie Irving is. It's just who he is.
Right. And that's who he's gonna continue to be. He's already a guy who is set in his ways. And like you said, he has a history of missing games and is going to do it his way no matter what. So if I'm the Lakers, there's no way I'm touching this guy. There's no way I'm even considering trading away pieces to acquire him in a trade. Look, he's notoriously an unreliable source, and he is not a trustworthy soul. Okay, and I think Sean Marks knows that as well, which is why he has been undecided on Irving's future. And now Irving, being the disgruntled and discontent player that he is, all of a sudden he's whining and pouting, and he once again wants out. But that's what happens when you want to be a part-time player. This is the kind of stuff that will happen and will transpire if you ruin team chemistry. And as far as I'm concerned, he has ruined team chemistry. And a year ago, I will say that he did somewhat take accountability when the Nets suffered that early postseason exit. He took somewhat accountability, and he was brutally honest when he admitted his absence was a distraction for Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. He had a lack of interest in the team, which hindered the development of team chemistry and cohesion. And he did talk about all of that. So, um, you could place some of the blame on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving because of how he has conducted himself. And yes, he is a self-entitled brat. I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth. He's a self-entitled brat. He's very selfish. He thinks about himself before he thinks about the team, and it's more about team goals than it is team success. You know, he prioritized individual play over team play. And I mean, we've seen it long enough to know this is how Kyrie Irving is. It's not his play on the court. That's never been called into question. It's his character that has been called into question. And I think you and I both agree that he has been a problem everywhere he's been. And now you put him on this Laker team, you're going to have more problems.
Yep.
You know, you don't want this headache if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. It's bad enough that organization is in the state that it's in now because of how poorly the roster is constructed. So why would you even think to, bring in a guy like Kyrie Irving? I mean, I understand it makes a lot of sense because he used to play with LeBron, so he would reunite with his former teammate, and they seem to have patched things up from, back when and everything. I get all of that. But you don't need the unnecessary drama, nor do you need the distractions from a guy who has shown time and time again that he will quit on you in an instant. So that's my thoughts on the whole Kyrie Irving thing. And when I heard the news today, I wasn't very surprised, but I thought they had kind of worked things out, and I thought they were close to getting the deal done, and I didn't think this would be a dispute. But I will tell you this before we move on to the next topic. I will say this. This is going to be an ongoing saga until he is officially traded. And until we know where he will land before the trade deadline. But this is going to drag out. It's going to be a long process, and this is going to be the story for days to come.
One more thing before we move on. I just want to say that if I'm Brooklyn, I'm not playing him no more until he's traded. That's what I'm saying. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm not playing. He's already want the man out. He already wants out. I'm not putting him back on the court until I find the right deal that's going to help out this basketball team and get a lot of pieces and get the deal that I want. I'm not playing him on the court no more because he's clearly, you don't want him on the court and he being disgruntled and not being able to play his game. And then the other guys don't want him apart, and then having a locker room, it comes down to the locker room, it gets into another dysfunctional act in the locker room. So if I'm Brooklyn, I'm keeping away from the team. I'm not going to play him. I understand you want to play it if you want to play him for so people can trade for him, his value. But Kyrie is a superstar when he plays. People's gonna want him. So just set him out. And go with the rest of the guys you got. But it's gonna be really interesting to see how Kevin Durant reacts to it. Because Kevin Durant not gonna want to be a part of a Brooklyn team that's not going to be running a playoff push. Kevin Durant is not going to want to be a part of that. He was frustrated going into the regular season, but I really thought Brooklyn had something. The moment if Kevin Durant comes back, I really think this Brooklyn team can beat anybody in a first round matchup. And I think this team could have been dangerous, but now Kyrie Irving again come with this shenanigans again. Now it's going to throw off the whole Brooklyn team again, and Kevin Durant, it's not going to be long before you start seeing him being frustrated again and wanting out too.
And this is exactly why James Harden bailed out on the Brooklyn Nets. This is why he requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, because he saw that it was all about to implode. And what are we seeing? He envisioned this. And look what we're seeing. And Kevin Durant's the next to walk out the door as well. I agree with you. Kevin Durant's going to be out because Kevin Durant likes to take the easiest path to a championship. I don't care what anybody say. Now, this is not me dissing him at all because I like Kevin Durant. I think he's one of the greatest players in the NBA. Now, I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. I think it's a bit hyperbole to say that he is the world's best player. You know, to me, that's a bit of a stretch, you know, but he is a good player and he's an impactful player. So whatever team you put him on, he's gonna make an immediate impact. No question about it. I don't think any of us have ever denied that. But we're gonna move on in a second. But again, Kyrie Irving is not to be trusted. But yes, there's teams that's in desperate need, and the Dallas Mavericks, they need another superstar to team up with Luka. So I mean, he can go to Dallas as well, and Dallas again. There's been a lot of talk that they need to do whatever it takes to keep Luka in Dallas.
Yep.
This is a move that they can make to keep Luka happy and to keep him in Dallas. So we shall see. We shall see what will transpire once it's all said and done. But now we're gonna switch gears here. We're gonna move into the NFL because Brian Flores, man, he is getting interviewed. He's gonna have an interview for the DC job in Denver. I like it. It's a job, of course. It's not a head coaching job, but yeah, it's a defensive coordinator job. I think Brian Flores is deserving of a head coaching job. Brian Flores definitely has the credentials. He's more qualified than some of these less qualified candidates. But yet, teams kind of, pass him up. They don't even consider offering him a job. And I wanted to ask you this. Dante. Do you think this has to do with his discrimination lawsuit against the league that remains in place? Or I don't know if it's been settled, but the dispute, we should say the dispute and the discrimination lawsuit against the league, do you think that is kind of having an effect on why he is not a top candidate for some of these coaching openings around the league? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I thought they would have gotten over it at that point of time. Like I say, he shouldn't have been fired from Miami after the
Yeah.
team, went on an 8-game winning streak. He was managed to get the team right back together after a 1-7 start. I think he should be a head coach. I know, like you said, a job is a job, but he should be a head coach, man. I think he should be a head coach. Arizona will be a perfect head coaching job for him because Kyler Murray, you need someone, a strong-minded head coach, a strong-minded guy that's going to hold Kyler Murray accountable. You need some type of like Brian Flores will definitely hold Kyler Murray accountable. He will not play with Kyler Murray. He's going to get the best out of his players. He's a leader of men. It's also like D'Amico Ryans is, and every other coach out there, most of the coaches out there, and he's well respected around the league. So I definitely think this got a toll upon it. And he should be a head coach, man. I don't know why is he not getting some of these head coaching jobs, but I mean he is interviewing for a DC coordinator. But I feel like that Arizona job, he could change some things there. D Hop, they're getting ready to trade D Hop soon. I think D Hop is done. He's done with all that. He's done with Arizona. Kyler Murray's not going to play most of the year because of the ACL injury, but he really needs a coach that's going to sit up there and grow Kyler Murray a tournament into the player that he's supposed to be. and he's gonna definitely help out that Arizona Cardinals team. So again, I feel like he should be definitely be a head coach in the league, but I think just because of that lawsuit that was put out, I think they're still holding that against him. But I would really like for him to be, a head coach, and Arizona will be a very great spot for him to be the head coach, have the head coaching job in.
When he was in Miami, the culture was there. That team had a winning attitude. That team took on his personality. I think a number of players on that team gravitated towards him as well. He commanded that locker room. He commanded the respect of those players. The players played hard for him, and he was committed to the game of football. I think he's one of those game changing coaches. He's a coach that can build a winning culture wherever he goes. And his know-how, his finesse, and his coaching style and his leadership style will quickly change the dynamic of an entire organization, and he will have a contagious effect on an organization. I think he's definitely qualified for a head coaching job, and I'm a little. I mean, it's a job for him, but I'm a little disappointed that he's not being offered head coaching jobs. I think he is deserving of it. I think he's worthy. And I think the NFL still continues to show that we lack diversity. We lack diversity. There's not enough black coaches in the NFL, and I'm not trying to make this a race thing. I'm not trying to be political because this is a sports show, but I'm spitting out the facts here. And it's time that the NFL becomes more diverse. Um, Hopefully, we see a change in the hiring process. It was great to see D'Amico Ryan get hired at Houston to become the Texans head coach. That was great to see. That's a step moving forward. But we still lack uh, African American coaches in the NFL. Um, Hopefully, we'll see changes. Hopefully, Brian Flores will get another coaching opportunity in the NFL. I really like him. I like his personality. I like his guts as well, because that took a lot of courage to actually file a lawsuit against the NFL, because a lot of people felt that he could have got blackballed for that. That could have been the end of his coaching career in the NFL. That could have jeopardized his coaching career. Fortunately, it didn't, because he's still getting hired and he's still being looked at as a defensive coordinator, but not a head coach, which he should be. It's a number of guys who have the credentials and who has built a resume
Yep.
to become a head coach. Look at Eric Bieniemy. The list goes on. Steve Wilkes. We talked
Steve
about him.
Wilkes, yeah, you should have been a head coach
You,
with the
you, you
Panthers. Yep.
said the other day on my show that Steve Wilkes should have been hired as the head coach in Carolina.
Yep.
That they should have removed the interim tag from his name and named him the head coach. They didn't. They brought in Frank Wright. That's who's gonna be, directing that team moving forward. But we have made some progress in recent years. We got two African American general managers now in the league, so that's a huge step. And then you look at D'Amico Ryan's hire, and that's something to be encouraged about as well. So we have made some steps, but we still have a lot of work to be done.
Yep, we definitely do. And I wouldn't be surprised. Another black head coach. He's been getting interviews as well. Raheem Morris, the head coach, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. He was getting some interviews. So I hope he can find a way to end up getting a head coaching job with the Indianapolis Colts or the Arizona Cardinals. I hope Raheem Morris can end up getting one of those two jobs though.
Yes, I would like to see that as well. I think those guys are well deserving of it.
Yep.
Now, coach, we're gonna go back into the NBA, and we probably should have stayed in the NBA before
Yep.
we shifted gears and went to talk about the NFL. Hey, Gene, what's popping?
What's good,
Thanks
Gene?
for uh, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for chiming in and sharing your thoughts with us. I'm with you, man. I would
Yep.
like to see that. I think he would fit in very well in Arizona. I think he will help um, with the development and the rise of Kyler
Kyler
Murray.
Murray. Yep.
I think that would do justice for Kyler Murray. So I like that. I like that hire. I think that would be great. And yes, Brian Flores is definitely a top 5 NFL head coach, no question about it. A lot of people uh, don't acknowledge that, but I'm glad you did. So thank you for your comments and thanks for watching and joining us tonight. But Coach Dante, we're gonna move on to the NBA. Again, we're going back to the NBA. We're gonna talk about NBA All Star snubs because, as you know, the
Yep.
NBA All Star roster for both the East and the West were announced the other day,
Yep.
and there's been some players, as always, that's been left out. They're not invited to the party. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Who's the biggest Who's the biggest snub from the All Star?
Well, a lot of people will say James Harden, which is I don't disagree with, but I don't disagree with. I think he should be a part of the All Star game. But I got a player right here that I wrote down on the list. Got a player. He plays for Sacramento. His partner made it, Sabonis, who's one of the most underrated centers in the league. Who's one of the most underrated centers in the league, averaging 18 points, 12 rebounds. I got a De'Aaron Fox. I want to say De'Aaron Fox should have made the All Star team. De'Aaron Fox, 24 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. You mean to tell me he's not a part of what the Kings are doing right now, along with him and Sabonis? With Malik Monk over there, Kevin Herter, the sharpshooter that used to play for Sacramento. I think De'Aaron Fox plays a big part of that offense. He's definitely a scorer. His shooting got better. I think De'Aaron Fox is a big snub in the Western Conference, for the All-Star team. I think he should have made the All-Star team. Pascal Siakam, another good choice for the Toronto Raptors. He's really good, but I'm gonna go with De'Aaron Fox. I really like De'Aaron Fox, and he's a big part of what Sacramento is doing right now.
Yeah, and Gene said Pascal Siakam
Yep.
is a big snub as well. I agree with that. But one of my big snubs um, has to be um, Darius Garland. I think he's a snub, man. Look, I understand that the Cavaliers don't have quite the same best team in the conference. I get it, but Darius Garland has done plenty individually to warrant consideration. In my opinion, he's one of just 7 players in the league with at least 1,000 minutes played and averages at least 20 points and 8 assists. Um, I mean, he's in the same company with Jokic, Luca, Halliburton, and Morant, and they all of them are all stars.
Yep.
All of them are all stars, but Garland gets left off the team. That that puts him in good company. I think he should have made the All Star team. I think he was well deserving of being a part of the All Star team. And another guy is Jimmy Butler. Look, we all know how tenacious Jimmy Butler can be. We all know how fierce of a competitor Jimmy Butler is. And it just amazes me that he's left off of the All-Star team. Jimmy Butler is 10th in the league in estimated plus minus. With the exception of Anthony Davis, who had appeared in only 28 games in Thursday. Everyone ahead of him is an all-star, but he doesn't make the all-star team. How is that?
Zion Williams missed a chunk amount of games, and I think he's a part of the All-Star team. Zion Williamson is missed a chunk amount of games, and I think he's a part of the All-Star team as well. I think De'Aaron Fox definitely deserves an opportunity to play in that All-Star game. I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't make it. I thought he was gonna make it, but his partner made it. Sabonis made it. Sabonis is a very good center, man. He's a very good underrated player in this league. Like I say, averaging 18 points, 12 rebounds, and Sabonis also averages 7 assists. He's also averaging 7 assists, so he's scoring, he's rebounding, he's been a playmaker. He also can shoot from the outside. But De'Aaron Fox, I think he got robbed, man. De'Aaron Fox should have been on the All-Star team, and you got guys that been out for quite period of time on an All-Star team, but you can't put De'Aaron Fox. And you can make an argument for Jimmy Butler. You can definitely make an argument for him. James Harden, you can make an argument for him to be a part of the All-Star team as well. He averaging 21 points, 11 assists. So at the end of the day, man, you can make an argument for all of these guys that we just named. And you got some of these guys out there hurt, and they still got in. They still got in the All-Star game.
But Coach, you got to remember this too. This is a popularity
Yes,
contest.
it is.
So the fans, they want to see the Zion Williamses.
Yep.
They want to see players who have big names. They want to see the flashy big name players. That's what everyone comes to see when they watch an All-Star game. And also, too, an All-Star game is not as relevant as it used to be back in the day. The All-Star games are not the same as they were back in the day. You know what? You know what the All-Star game's purpose was back in the day? It was a chance for fans to see players from other teams that were outside of their markets that they didn't get a chance to watch on a regular basis. That's why we had the All-Star game, for fans to be able to see what other teams have to offer and how good other players are. And that was a chance to see a showcase of talent come together for one night on the hardwood floor. That's what it's all about. The collection of talent. You know what I'm saying? All-Star game is not the same anymore. It's irrelevant because you have so much access now. You have laptops. You're able to watch YouTube videos. You can see highlights of what the players are doing. All you gotta do is go on YouTube and type in Darius Garland or type in De'Aaron Fox, and there you go. Their highlights will pop up. And it's just a different time that we live in, that these people now have so much access to the internet. They have computers, mobile devices, and you're able to see what these players are doing. As opposed to before, you couldn't see what all these players were doing until you saw that collection of talent on the floor that particular night. So that's what an All-Star game was all about. So does it really matter? But here's what amazes me when a player doesn't make the All-Star team. They take it personal.
They do. Yep.
And what we see from the player in the second half of the season, they step their game up a notch.
Yep.
They turn it on. And you see a different player with a different mindset than what you saw in the first half of the season. So that's what usually happens. So sometimes if it doesn't send the player into a tailspin, the player becomes really focused to where he's performing better than what he has before. And that's what we've seen from some of these players. They take this kind of stuff personal. Unless you're a Rudy Gobert and burst into tears because you didn't make the All-Star team.
I remember that. Yeah, James Harden took it to Twitter.
That's not a personal shot. I'm
Yep.
just I'm just using that as an example.
Yep. James Harden took it to Twitter after he found out he wasn't on the All-Star team. Um he took it to Twitter and said disrespect. He felt like he was definitely was disrespected. You remember it was a year that Damian Lillard, did not make the All-Star team, and he came out. He didn't talk, but he came out and showed it in his game, dropping 60 against the Golden State Warriors, soon coming right up out of the All-Star break. So he showed it with his game that he deserved to be up on that All-Star team. So some of these guys it do be getting to them. They think about that. They think about that a lot, and it do get to them. They do get in their feelings about it, but Damian Lillard took it the real way. Show it with your game, and that's what he did with against Golden State by putting up 60 on them. And James Harden took it to Twitter, said disrespect. So yeah, like I said, like you said, it's nothing but a popularity contest. And people want to see these guys, man. And you got people, fans voting Derrick Rose and Austin Reeves them in an All-Star game, trying to get them in the All-Star game. And like I say, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how they go by that and just like I say, I'm not saying take it away from the fans, don't let the fans vote, but golly, it goes too far. It just goes too far. It just goes too far.
Yeah, it does. And a lot of players unfortunately get left off. But James Harden always takes it personal, but then he never backs it up in the postseason.
Yep.
We always see him choke under the pressure in the postseason. I mean, so James Harden shouldn't really be focused whether or not he's been omitted from the All-Star team. That should be his last worry, because he's approaching the latter stages of his career. If he's not already in the latter stages of his career, he should be more concerned about winning an NBA championship.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that a different day. We're
Yep.
going to move on now. Our next topic is Julian Love. Giant safety Julian Love recently aired some grievance about the sideline antics of Eagles coach Nick Sirianni. Love has since doubled down in his belief that Sirianni, if I'm saying his name correctly, because I'm still trying to figure his name out, is basically in the right place at the right time with a great group of players. What are your thoughts on Julian Love's comments? Do you think that's sour grapes? Do you think that's a bit of jealousy? What is that? Is that a guy who is showing envy? That's what it sounds like to me.
It is. It's showing a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of a sore loser. That's all it's showing to me. That he didn't want to see the Eagles. He got beat by the Eagles. That's all it's about in a blowout fashion. So that's all it is. A little bit of a jealousy and just a little bit of being a sore loser, a little bit, man. Like I say, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the coaching, that can coach up the talent, and people always use you kind of use that metric all the time. Like Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, he didn't have a lot of people was playing, Eagle fans were saying, he don't got the talent around him last year can do what he do. Now he got it around him. Now he got the talent around him. Now you see what type of defense the Eagles are. Now, Nick Sirianni made the playoffs with less last year. He made the playoffs with less talent. So it shows a capability that he can adjust and be a great coach. All they did was added, all they really did was added AJ Brown. They added Kaiser White. They added CJ Gardner-Johnson. You can blame that on the Saints because they didn't want to pay him. The Saints weren't going to pay CJ Gardner-Johnson. So that's not Nick Sirianni's fault that they went out and got him, because the Saints didn't want to even pay him. Now, and they got Kaiser White. They went out there and got Kaiser White in free agency, one who had a 1-year contract, a proven deal. And they got Jordan Davis in the draft. They went out and paid for Hassan Reddick, got Hassan Reddick. Like I say, it's pretty much the same team, except the free agents that he did sign. And they only did pretty much one thing to the offensive side of the ball, which is got AJ Brown. That's all they did. And Nick Sirianni made the playoffs with Jalen Hurts, who played his first year, who was his first year. Devontae Smith was a rookie last year, and he's still able to make the playoffs. So all of that, Julian Love just a little salty. He just a little salty, and he just kind of got upset, that they're out and that they're watching the Eagles in the Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's all it is. That's all it is. Nick Sirianni is a hell of a coach. He knows what he's doing, and and he's not the one calling the plays. James Steichen, the one that's in head coaching interviews, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, he's the one calling the plays. So it's a little saltiness for Julian Love, it's a little saltiness.
Yep, and the Eagles have great players. Yes, sure. They have great players. But part of playing great is having a coaching staff that properly develops those players. And that's something Nick has done. That's something Nick has done. He has revitalized the culture. He has reshaped the culture there. The players have brought into his coaching style and his leadership style. And he has been a huge plus for that Eagles team, and I think it's a bit of jealousy, as I said moments ago, and you agree with this as well. The coaching staff develops. They put their players in the best position to succeed, and that's what Nick has done. They utilize the players provided by the front office, and that's what Nick has done. So to say that is not crazy to me, because it's coming from a Giants player, which is a player from the rival team. So there's a bit hostility there. There's some jealousy. There's some saltiness. But let me remind Julian Love that a lot of salt, man, is too bad for your health. It's really, really bad for your health. And Coach Dante, I don't know if you saw my shirt the other day, but I wore a graphic tee that said, "Don't be salty." And, tonight would have probably been a perfect time to wear that shirt, "Don't be salty." With the little girl from the Morton Salt, I believe that's what it's called, the Morton Salt. That comes in a container. It was one of those graphic tees that I rocked the other day. And Julian Love needs to be reminded not to be salty. The Eagles are a great team, yes, but Nick has done a terrific job as a head coach, and you can't take that away from him. And you can't deny the fact that he has had a tremendous impact on the team's success this season.
Yep, he definitely did. And like I said, he made it with less talent last year. He made it with less.
Right.
He basically made it with two rookies being on the squad on the offensive side of the ball. You had Quez Watkins, the slot receiver, on the offensive side of the ball. He was a rookie last year. You had, like I say, Devontae Smith, who he was a rookie last year at the receiver position. They just added AJ Brown. They just added AJ Brown on the offense. So other than that, the offense basically is still the same. They had the best offensive line in football for a while, for about at least 3 years straight. So the offense is still the same. The defense is what changed. The defense is the only thing that really changed, and they needed some help on the defensive side of the ball. So again, Julian Love, try again next season. You wait your turn next season. So right now he watching the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so he just got to wait a turn, another shot opportunity for next year.
Hey, he has to wait until next season.
Yep.
But Coach Dante, before we get out of here, I want to get your thoughts on who is the most, right now, currently, actively, who is the most underrated player in the NBA. Or if you have multiple underrated NBA players, let me know. But who is your most underrated NBA player right now, as of today, in the NBA?
Okay, I already named two. I already named one of them that was I said De'Aaron Fox is a snub, but I got two. I got two of them, and I mentioned Sabonis was one on the list, which we didn't talk about, but I got two more of them right here. I got CJ McCollum and Kyle Kuzma. Now, Kyle Kuzma is not going to get mentioned because he plays on the Washington Wizards, and the Washington Wizards are a pretty bad basketball team. They're not really that good of a basketball team. But Kyle Kuzma, like I say, Jonathan, you kind of know this a little bit. Everybody that do lead the Lakers gets immediately better and gets immediately groomed into a very good player, and that's what Kyle Kuzma is. Kyle Kuzma, 21 points per game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He averaged a double last year, so he's in that 20-point per game range. When you're playing with LeBron James, you got to sacrifice offense a lot, which is Kyle Kuzma was clearly when the ball was in his hands. He's clearly a scorer. So Washington Wizards, along with Bradley Beal, gives him that opportunity with the ball in his hand, gives him opportunity to take more shots, and that's what he's doing. And he's doing it pretty well and efficiently. CJ McCollum, ever since he got traded for Portland, done a great job. 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. And a lot of people forgot how big CJ McCollum was when he first got traded to the Pelicans. You remember they beat San Antonio in the play-in tournament, and they got hot before the season ended, and they end up taking the Phoenix Suns to 6 games in the playoffs. Most of that was, right there with CJ McCollum. So those are my two, underrated players, CJ McCollum and Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma not gonna get mentioned too much because he plays for the Washington Wizards. And the Washington Wizards, I think they should go in full rebuild mode. And Bradley Beal, and I think Bradley Beal should want out, and I think they should do him a favor and get him on a playoff contending team. And I think they should just go in full rebuild mode.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. But my two are Shai Gilgeous Alexander from the OKC Thunder. Look, he's not a complete stranger to most fans. He was a lottery pick in the 2018 NBA draft, and he's been amazing with the Kansas City Thunder. He has made quite a leap over the last season and a half, to the point where he is an all-star selection. And now it feels inevitable that he is an emerging star in this league. There's no question about it. Look at the career high numbers he's posting across the board. His efficiency, it is down quite a bit this season, but he's otherwise picked up right where he left off, with averages of 24.2 points, 5.8 assists, and 5.0 rebounds through 53 games.
Yep.
That was, he's just doing his thing,
Yep.
and I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's the most underrated player in the NBA. He has great ball handling skills. He's a distributor. He plays really good defense.
Yep.
He's a really, really good defense. And my mistake, I was looking at the wrong stats, by the way, but hey, it's still relevant to this day, right?
Yep.
He's doing this thing. The guy is doing this thing. And another underrated player to me, as well, is Murray, the backcourt mate for Trae Young. I think he's
DeJounte Murray. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I also think he's
I love him.
He's a very underrated guard as well. He's a high impact player. He doesn't get enough shine in the league. A lot of people don't acknowledge him. I think he's flying under the radar because I think he's a really, really good player, and he has the numbers to prove it. He has the play on the court and the competitive fire to back it up.
Yep.
So those are my two underrated players. I don't want to give it all away because I'm doing a video on this in the morning. So I'll talk more and I'll go more in depth on it in the morning. But yeah, my mistake for looking at the wrong stats on Shai.
You good.
But that kid is bad, man. He's
that dude is really good, and he can play very good defense too, man. He plays really good defense, and he's starting to become an improved 3-point shooter. He didn't have that 3-point shot in his game for first start of his career again in San Antonio. But the dude is the Murray. I believe, if they can get on up on a little winning streak, I believe if the team can play someone a little better, it is definitely some chemistry issues over there in Atlanta between Trae Young and John Collins. They've been trying to get him up out of there for 3 years. I think they need a little bit, more tweaking in Atlanta. I think they can be a dangerous first out. I think they can be a dangerous first out in the first round, depending on the matchup who they play. I'm not saying they're going to win that first round matchup, but they can make it a long series for who they potential play in that first round or in the playing game. And Murray definitely helps them on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. Take a little pressure off Trae Young. And they got some capable guys. Out there that can play some good defense. If DeAndre Hunter can stay healthy, again, another player that I like that can shoot the basketball and play a little bit of a defense. I believe the Atlanta Hawks can be a scary team in the first round, depending on the matchup they go against. And I say Murray, that's a great pickup. Gilgeous-Alexander, one of my favorite guys in the NBA right now, man, can score over anybody, can drive to the basket, get teammates involved. Also, a very good three-point shooter. Was kind of overlooked in college a little bit. Was the third best point guard in the draft. Now you may be arguing he was the best point guard in that type of draft, but you had Trae Young and Luka in that same draft, probably with them. So he was kind of overwhelmed by those. But those are two great guys right there who I really like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you 100% on that. But my man, we have ran out of time. It has been a great show. As always, Coach Dante, it's always a pleasure, my man, to do this show with you. And before we get out of here, I want to make sure that everyone subscribes to the Sports Empire Network sports channel. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Do us a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button. This show, The Judges Corner, hosted by myself and several other podcasters who come on and join me. This show airs every Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and Wednesday nights, the same time, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8 p.m. West Coast time. I want to thank our listeners and our viewers for watching, because without you guys, none of this is possible. And I want to thank Coach Dante again for joining me. This was another awesome episode of the Judges Corner. We were thrilled to have you guys with us tonight. Thanks again. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be positive, and do great things. For myself and Coach Dante, we'll see you next Friday night in another episode of the Judges Sports Corner.
Peace out, you guys.
Peace out.